You are listening to Speaking Chilean Slang Po, the podcast that helps you better understand the weas we Chileans say. Empecemos, po. Welcome to this first episode of Speaking Chilean Slang Po. Me llamo Natalia, soy chilena, and I'm the host of this podcast for you, a Spanish student who wants to learn those Chilean slang words that nobody wants to teach you. And in this episode, we're going to talk about the expression cuática or cuático.
What?
I can imagine your face when you hear this word that honestly doesn't make any sense in a standard Spanish.
Oh no.
Cuático eso, po. Let's start with the history. Although there is not clear origin of this word, it is said that in 1920s, when circuses were very popular in Chile, it was quite common for clowns to do a water show, or show acuático. Water show? That's right. In fact, it was called the Aquatic Symphony or La Sinfonía Acuática. And it was a kind of water war where the clowns would splash water on each other at the end of each show. As in almost all wars, things go out of control and everything turned into a mess. Then, the term acuático or aquatic began to become popular in Chile as a synonym for disaster, or a situation that was developing in a messy way. Over time, the word just evolved to cuático. Well, that's the story, which of course I didn't make up, but was told by the famous Chilean academic named Jaime Campuzano, who has been researching Chilean slang for as long as I can remember.
Oh my goodness.
What do we mean when we say that something or someone is cuático or cuática? Let's go with the first meaning. We say that someone is cuático when we mean that person is overreacting regardless of the reason. I'll give you an example by telling you a story. When I was a child, I lived in a very, very risky neighborhood in Santiago de Chile, and my granny, who was the one who took care of me while my mom was working, didn't give me permission to go out to play in the street. Since I was a little girl who knew nothing about the world, I thought my granny era cuática. That is, I thought she was overreacting to a situation and that she wasn't right at all. We also use cuático or cuática when we refer to an extreme situation. As you already know, in Chile, we have different types of natural disasters.
Gosh.
Earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, and so on. In particular, when we talk about any of them, we can say something like, el terremoto estuvo cuático, or the earthquake was remarkably strong. In this way, we emphasize that this event was unusual. The last one can be something positive or negative because it's related to how surprising we find a situation. For example, some years ago, I met a backpacker who had traveled by hitchhiking totally alone, and she had already traveled more than 20 countries that way. Cuático, po. We also use the expression ponerse cuático or cuática when we want to point out a before and after in a person's behavior or to emphasize the change in a situation. For example, after losing a big game, the coaches se pusieron cuáticos with the training. This is because ponerse comes from the verb poner, which in English means to put, but in some context in Spanish it can mean to get in regards to change. Let's get some practice. In this case, you have to complete the sentences using ponerse cuático or ponerse cuática, according to the situation.
Let's do it!
First one. I used to live in a quiet building, but now my building is incredibly noisy. Noisy means ruidoso. In Spanish, very well. El edificio se puso ruidoso con cuática. El edificio se puso ruidoso con cuática. Very good. Number 2. Before, I didn't do much sport. Now I'm too sporty because I want to run the marathon. Sporty means deportista. You rock it. Me puse deportista con cuática. Me puse deportista con cuática. Very good. Before, I was introverted, but now I'm very extroverted. Me puse extrovertida con cuática. Bien, you got it. And that's all for today, my dear student. If you liked this episode, don't forget to give it 5 stars in your favorite podcast app and subscribe. This way, you'll help me to continue creating episodes and to reach more people who, like you, want to learn the slang of Chile. Hasta la próxima, po. Chao, chao.